Siobhan and a Shia. And a Shelly.
All right. Let's do our show. Let's get underway.
Okay. Underway. On the boat.
We're underway.
All aboard, Tobin!
All aboard. All right, we're all aboard.
All hands on deck.
All hands on deck. We're all aboard on the spaceship taking off to combat base land. No?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
All right.
Fine.
We're back for another show. Super rad. Welcome, people. Here we are.
That's not creepy.
We got the CEO on deck here, on board. Salute.
Love to be hated.
Love to be hated. We got the venerable, the OG.
Hating to be loved.
Hating to be loved.
This is really how it is.
I'm Tobin, the producer.
You're just neutral.
I'm just
Neutral.
here for some reason. And today we want to hit, okay, what is up with this situation? It's not who's good, it's who's left. Don't you want to be good?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Tobin.
I think this is what I think, and I think this is true with everything. And maybe this is just because I'm seeing the world this way and constantly projecting it onto the world.
Mm-hmm.
But I think nuance is lost with simple statements.
Okay.
Sometimes they clarify, right? But sometimes they also cloud things. So something like it's not who's good, it's who's left can be interpreted so many different ways, right? But if you hear the whole, for me, the back story of why I'm saying that, then you understand at least what my meaning was at that time. But it could be different. Like there's a lot of those little idioms and sayings out there that we interpret. Like that's part of the problem of the internet, right? And comments, because you miss tone in comments. You miss the nuance. They might be thinking about from their experience something, then they hear and take one line in a podcast and assume that the podcast is about this, or they get the YouTube short clip or the Instagram clip and think the whole podcast, like what was that thing that BJJ Eastern Europe posted a while back that somehow Chris Haueter thinks all belts shouldn't be.
And you hate Brazilians too.
Yeah.
And your coaches, especially Ixon. You hate them all.
Yeah.
Now there's going to be a new one saying all that.
Yeah. But I see how people get that, right? That is why politicians, most of them, others just don't fucking care and say anything, guard their words. Because they're trying to say things knowing that a political enemy is going to take a fragment of this and spin it in a way that half the population will do zero investigation and see. But anyway, so that's the first thing I think of. But go ahead, yeah.
Let me interject before you
please.
Fill in. So, okay, so if you go online and you access this ultra top secret combat base AI laboratory that I've concocted.
Ooh.
You will type in, it's not who, so let me back up. The combat base AI laboratory is all across the board. It's not just combat based stuff. So we look at up everything. But if you query AI to look at the whole entire cyber world,
yeah,
and you do, it's not who's good, it's who's left. This is the result.
Let's hear it. Yeah.
This is what the World Wide Web.
It's what AI has found on the World Wide Web.
It's not who's good, it's who's left is a popular saying in the Brazilian jiu-jitsu community, often attributed to Chris Haueter, one of the first American BJJ black belts. The meaning of the saying, persistence over natural talent. This quote emphasizes that consistent training and dedication over time are more crucial for achieving mastery in BJJ than inherent athleticism or natural talent. Longevity in training. The saying highlights the importance of staying in the game, persevering through challenges, and not quitting, even when progress seems slow or setbacks occur. Long-term perspective. It encourages a long-term view of BJJ training, focusing on the journey of learning and improvement rather than just immediate results or accolades. Ego management. The quote can also be interpreted as a call to drop the ego, avoid getting discouraged by losses or a perceived lack of progress, and simply enjoy the process of learning. The essence, in essence, the saying suggests that people who ultimately become successful in BJJ are not necessarily the ones who were naturally the best or most talented at the beginning, but rather the ones who stay committed, kept training, and didn't give up. Okay.
I think AA pretty much wrapped up my entire
AI.
thought. AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oops.
AI
Nailed it.
definitely, from that point, nailed it.
Crazy, huh?
AI nailed it. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
God, that's
It's insane, kind of.
It's really insane. And not to change the topic of this, and people who know me, and unfortunately, my wife's probably been hearing about this from me for years. I'm one of those people who has been fascinated with AI and both worried about it and eager to see it. And like, just because in this last year, how Chat GPT's come about, how the AI art programs, like, I'm blown away. Like, I kind of expected to be blown away a little bit, but I am absolutely blown away at how, and I have this thing where because I did Photoshop art, which is really mashups. I kind of feel like I know what the AI does, but then in this weird way, I'm like, that's consciousness, because what it does is it parses through things, and maybe how our brain neurons work on a sub-program of our brains, where like our totally awareness, I'm waiting for a person to ask me if they need this, like there's that second layer that our art brain exists in, and I think AI really is existing in what I call art brain, where you're half conscious. I don't think it's fully aware, but I definitely think it's half aware in this weird way. And it kind of like, I think it's cool, and at the same time I'm creeped out by it. Like, wow.
Yeah. I was asking Chime last night on
Yes.
the map. I was asking him about that's so weird. About crypto and why crypto made sense.
Right.
And he basically was saying it's pretty closely tied to AI in his opinion. Like, he was giving me this vision of the future where, like, your ability to have enough compute power to run sophisticated AI off of large language models
Yeah.
is basically a direct proxy for like how powerful you are as like an entity. And having that type of compute power would allow you to mine Bitcoin, because
because that
it becomes
requires
harder and
so
harder
much
to
energy.
mine.
Yeah.
It requires so much energy that it becomes like a currency that's tied to how powerful you are, like compute wise.
Yes.
And so he was sort of alluding to that being the value of crypto, because we're kind of speculating on a show or two ago, I can't remember, about what crypto was and why it was valuable.
Yeah.
And he was describing it in these terms, which actually made a lot of sense to me.
Well, it's kind of like why there's like obviously multiple schools of thought. The people that are very alarmed about global warming, excess energy expenditure, all that. Of course, they don't like crypto or AI because it consumes so much energy. I can't remember what the like numbers are, but like one Bitcoin consumes more energy than like 400 barrels of oil or whatever, because of how much computing energy it requires, which means you need massive servers and all these things, which is one of the reasons why the tech lords, the Peter Thiels, Elon Musk, and all that, want to get rid of government so they can create these giant communities based on computation power, which is like one of the reasons why like the United States wants to seize Canada and Greenland all the way. It's the world is being re-divided up, whether you're for or against it. There's a logic to the insanity if you think it's insane, or the cool newness if you think it's cool and new, that is currently happening. And AI is definitely an unstoppable thing. Just like, in my opinion, climate change seems kind of unstoppable. and other things seem like we are barreling towards a change, a paradigm shift that is going to be quicker and bigger than the industrial revolution was. That's
I heard the Canadian, is it a prime minister?
Yes.
He's not really happy about
No,
this.
he's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
He's not happy about.
Yeah, we're
He's
definitely
not happy about things being said, like, because they're like, we're Canadians. We have our own culture. We have our own country, our legacy.
He
There's
basically
no way we're
said
going to
we
become part
aren't
of the
for
United
sale.
We aren't going to be part of the United States. They
Oh.
aren't. So I don't know if that's going to happen, Chris. Just
Now,
saying.
The
Just saying.
no, I mean,
Without a fight, anyways.
not without a yes. All of this is not going to happen without massive amounts of fights. But if you look at the old post-war model, which is basically the U.S. dollar becomes the global reserve currency, which is what gave the U.S. a bunch of power. So even though people get mad that we print money, which causes inflation, but we print money and loan it to China. So America, up until now, because everything's making a shift, we controlled the economics of the world. The U.S. Navy, with the help of NATO, England and France, patrols the oceans. And like, if from a conservative perspective, not a radical right perspective, is that created a very stable order. And it was the Western left that was often mad at NATO and the U.S. corporations and all that. Now it's like the far right is like angry at the things that the far left used to be mad at, which is borders the whole horseshoe theory where things meet. And the last time that happened was the rise of communism and fascism in Europe in the 1920s and the 30s. And I'm not saying that's what it's going to be now, but it is fascinating how history rhymes. And we're in a very rhyming thing on that sine wave graph where I was lucky enough to be born in this period of time of American global dominance, Western supremacy, cresting, some say, 1985. And then, like, some people argue it was the 90s. Some people will say, no, America was done in the 70s. You just had, like, there's all those arguments. But clearly, the global powers, and not in some conspiracy Illuminati way, but there are people with a lot of power, which usually means money, who are trying to re-engineer and figure out how to maintain that power. And AI is going to be absolutely critical in doing that.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, like, imagine when steel was first discovered, and now there's this new tool that will enable us to do everything better.
Yes.
And
to build tall.
Yeah.
To build bridges. Yep.
Build weapons. Like all this stuff, right? And maybe we could think about AI as similar, right? Like, here's this new tool that's going to allow us to do everything better. And the hang up is going to be who has enough compute power to run the best AI, similar to like who has the ability to get the steel and forge the steel and make the steel. That then becomes a proxy for other stuff, right? If you have the ability to make the steel do, maybe, I don't know, this is speculation, I don't know history that well, but like maybe when you're getting steel and stuff, you also can get gold.
Yes.
Right? So then gold becomes like this thing that you can use to trade for other things.
Yep.
And similarly, if you can get the AI, because you have enough compute, you can get the Bitcoin.
Yes.
Because you're able to farm the Bitcoin. So maybe you could look at those two things and
in our lifetime, we've already seen a huge culture shift with the internet.
Yes.
And we know based on our experience, steel was already around when all of us were born, but the internet wasn't, right?
Yep.
Maybe you. But when I was born, there was no internet.
No, there's no internet.
Right?
No.
So I don't think that it made things better. I don't even know that steel made things better. Just saying better. What is better?
Right.
It's relative.
What is better?
What is better?
Ask a native.
Who is it better for?
Because everything comes with positives and negatives, right? And the internet definitely has a lot of positives and a lot of negatives.
A lot of negatives, yeah. But kind of like my history isn't fresh, but when the Gutenberg press came, right? That like led Europe into 1,000 years of warfare, because at first it's always this great thing. Wow, we could disseminate information. Then it becomes you could disseminate propaganda. You can disseminate misinformation, because we humans move more like swarms of wasps or bees than we do thinking logical machines. I mean, it's logical, but it's not thought
A
out.
lot of humans are followers.
Yes.
Sheep.
Yes.
Followers.
And
Joiners.
we all have, and all of us sometimes are that sheep, even though we think we're not. Like one of my favorite sayings in the last couple of years is, and I don't know who attributed it, I don't even know where I picked it up, but when you find yourself in a room full of ignorant fools, guard yourself against arrogance, or you will join them. Because it's so easy when, like, let's say you're the black belt and you're in a room of white belts. It's so easy to just go, oh my God, these people don't know what they're talking about. And then you build an arrogance, like, God, I know what I'm talking about. But then, like, that's a slippery slope into becoming ignorant yourself, right?
You know, it's the funniest sheepish thing that I feel like jiu-jitsu has made me catch myself doing is there'll be like people in jiu-jitsu where I'm like, oh wow, like that person's so amazing, the amazing jiu-jitsu guy, worthy of all this respect. And then I'm like, I've never even watched a match of that guy's. Like, why am I saying that? I'm just saying that because everybody else is saying that.
Yeah. I don't do that.
It's like
we subconsciously follow.
Yeah. It's like a sheepish behavior that I.
He must be good because everybody says he's good.
I think it's a fairly natural human tendency, right? But some of us are like on different spectrums of of operating. We're like, whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
You definitely are a respect earned.
Yeah. What was it? There was a really interesting like thing I heard about just the other day where maybe I shouldn't bring that up. That'd be fuck it. So there was this test done where they had like 2,000 fake patients that went into hospitals, and what they found was the medical establishment treats Black women were the lowest in terms of getting help for pain.
This is well known.
And it caused even Black female doctors to break down and cry because they also participated subconsciously into. We have these. What's the
we're conditioned
biases to and of course people want to reject those when as soon as they hear it, because they don't want to be accused of being a racist. Right. That's like the standard. Like nobody wants to be called a racist. Even the Klansman feels like, you can't call me a racist. I'm just a white supremacist. Like it's that weird thing. And generally speaking, the white liberal left doesn't want to not only see that they have some of it too, but they want to think they're so above it that creates an ignorance to where they don't see that that every race has racism. Because our pattern recognition machines, we separate ourselves.
Yeah.
And we create realities that aren't necessarily there, but then they become there because we create it.
That's a well-studied phenomenon, that one you were just describing. My wife was telling me about that, that like the Black patients, their complaints of pain get like undermined. Which is crazy.
Whereas like a white woman's pain will automatically, she must be in pain. It's this weird subconscious thing. And there was like one of those really controversial things. And don't worry, audience out there, we're not going to make the show, or I'm definitely not going to choose a side. And some people are mad at me because I don't publicly choose a side, but I view life, I pretend that I am an historian from the year 2105, and I've been transported back in time. And I'm observing this period of time as a historian, which is like, this is just what I pretend. I'm not saying, like, I have no personal...
Is that how you stay sane?
Yes, it is.
By pretending you're a historian for the future? Okay.
Because I have no personal... I don't get emotional when I think of far left Stalin or far right Hitler. Like, it's a non-emotional thing. But we as humans tend to get emotional about events happening in our current time, right? Yeah. And there's like the whole, what people call the Trump derangement syndrome. Like like I think that is true, but it's also true for people who love him. They're deranged they're blind, and the ones who hate him are automatically hate everything he says. Kind of like the tariffs. Like, tariffs in the 1990s was an idea from the left to protect American jobs, factories, and unions. Now, in my opinion, obviously, we're not going to start making toys again in the U.S.
We should make toys without all the shit in it.
Yeah.
The chemical shit. Keep our families healthy.
But like,
I was doing so good sitting here quietly, minding my own business.
You're good. No, I mean, well, that's the whole thing. Like, plastic.
There's the whip.
Plastics have taken over the world, and there's no way the world could rapidly adjust and exist without plastics.
I hate plastic. That I hate. I think plastic is evil.
It's like,
plastic changed the world. Did it change the world for the better?
Somewhat. And the worst.
We use it for a lot of medical things. That's plastic. We even put it in our bodies, right? To like lubricate joints and whatever.
Yes. 30% of your car is plastic.
Or more.
There's
like it's really plastic in there.
So like the world in order for America to become a manufacturing powerhouse again, it would take 10 years minimum, probably 20. So if you think America is inevitably going to have a war with China, then you need to produce steel and plastic and all these things in America, which America cannot do. That's why people who fear China, not people have knee-jerk, I watch the news and China scares me, but like actual like military strategists who vote blue sometimes and red, is if America cannot make its own uniforms, artillery shells, meals to eat, and all that, then America cannot win a war. And then George H. Bush, who talked about the New World Order, which in a lot of ways he was right, was if China is dependent on making things for us to buy, then we're not going to have a war with China. And if Russia gets Levi's and McDonald's, then we're not going to have a war with Russia. That economics, free trade, the neoliberal order it's called, is going to stop World War III. And one could say for 80 years, it worked pretty well.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, just to break it up a little bit. But, like, I just have this vision of the Chinese and even Russian military of just being gnarly, though. Like, not gnarly,
we were raised
like,
thinking that.
not gnarly like our military is well trained.
You mean ethically gnarly, or
like that they're just willing to
gnarly?
Sacrifice their people more than we are.
Yes.
And like that is like the gnarly part of it. That when you look at the way that they are,
the way that like Russia
brainwashed,
attacks with meat waves. Yes.
Like that scare. That's what would scare me. What would scare me? Does that scare you?
Yes. I mean, so one could say that the Geneva Convention rules of warfare and all that, like if you're all pro-America, you say those are American rules, or if you're anti-American, you say Americans made up, like what is the West, we'll call it the West, created the rules of warfare. Like Hitler did not use gas because he went through World War I and thought that was just horrible to gas people, to breathe.
Just in gas chambers.
we're not there yet.
Okay.
To use gas on enemy troops was absolutely horrific. The reason why they used gas in Auschwitz was because in order to get good German Catholics to line up people and shoot them, which is cheaper, most of them can't do it. They get sick to their stomach. They hate themselves. And an easier way to kill people is gas, because you don't have to be the executioner. That was like, it was not, it was based on they couldn't get enough people. There's like, what do they say? There's like three types of executioners. The ones who absolutely love it, give me more. The ones who can shut their brain off and kind of but do it and say, it's for a better good, I know it is. And the ones who absolutely physically cannot do it.
Then they're not executioners if they're not doing it.
And the Nazis did not force you to do it. There were those that volunteered, those that just, can I just do the paperwork side of it? And those who like absolutely physically could not do it. And the gas chamber was the solution to solve that logistical problem. And they had lawyers figuring out the legality of it. Like people think, oh, they just were these, the Wehrmacht was very structured and everything had paperwork behind it and lawyers, which is why when the war ended, we have history of this. And no, because the Germans keep accounting very well. And that's how we know it. But anyways, boy, that delved off into a dark tangent.
Yeah, I think that though, like something that was coming up for me when you were talking, like you pretend you're a historian, and I think that this word detachment is something that's really healthy.
Yes.
It's something that I learned through like self-help type of situations or therapy, is that you have to be able to detach yourself from things that are going on. It doesn't mean you're ignoring it. It just means that you're able to, in some ways, like not be wrapped up in stuff.
Yeah.
Like getting wrapped up in a certain thing, whatever it is. It could be jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
We could be wrapped up and obsessed with jiu-jitsu so much that it's all we think about, that we neglect our families and our children because we're so consumed with jiu-jitsu, that we skip work, call out on work because we're just all about jiu-jitsu. Now, that's unhealthy, right? So we have to be able to have a healthy balance, which we talk about a lot on this show, I think, with our jiu-jitsu practice. And the same thing, I think, goes for politics, world situations, history, all the things that could really get us down rabbit holes or make us super depressed or make us emotional, whatever it is. We have to have that healthy ability to be aware adults. We don't have to. I mean, you guys can do it how you want. I have to. This is what I say. I have to have the ability to be an aware adult and have balance with my consumption of information.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to podcast compulsively. I need 1 hour a week.
Okay.
Yes.
I got it.
We definitely are in an information saturated age. I was hearing a good podcast of like very prominent, good journalists talking about their mental health and how hard it is to be a journalist these days because the speed of new information hitting you.
Yeah, it's like bombardment. It's like being sprayed with a fire hose.
Yes, it's a fire hose.
But that kind of draws back into the main topic of the pod today, is it's not who's good, it's who's left. I feel like that's a nice metaphor for everything, right? So if you're kind of going after everything burning so hot that you're trying to be the absolute best all the time, I think that road is a burnout road.
That's a burnout road.
And I think it's going to be hard for the longevity and all the things that AI said about your saying that you came up with. It seems like that saying is not about, oh, you don't have to be good. It's that you will get plenty good.
It's not saying don't try to be good. It's almost like trying too hard is as much of a problem as quitting.
Yeah, that's what I get out of it. It's like if you come into jiu-jitsu and you're just trying so hard to learn it all and do it all, but then you quit, a lot of good that did.
Yeah.
You know, and you
Or-
can't force, to me, in my experience of learning jiu-jitsu, is that I couldn't force it.
You can't
I had
speed it
to
up.
allow the time and the effort and showing up and different phases of maybe going too far in and having to rein myself back and stuff like that to absorb the information and continue to practice. But if I'm not practicing anymore, then it kind of defeats the whole purpose, right?
Yeah. Pedro used to have a good saying that he'd say, there's no elevator, take the stairs.
That's a good
And
one.
I felt like that was a good
like
It's a
that.
marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
That's a good one too.
I'm here. I'm not here to win the battle. I'm here for the war,
Yeah.
the long haul.
Yeah.
I like the one because my brain is so ADHD. I like, rather than going to a class where you learn 40 moves, I try to just get one little piece, one nugget, one thing. Turn your wrist down instead of like whatever it is. And then like over the months and years, you get to keep it. But when you try to remember all these different moves and all these steps, then when you slap, bump, and roll, you don't have it.
And
It's
some
not there.
people can do that.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of note takers out there
Yeah.
and studiers and
Yeah.
whatever. And that's like whatever, a phase that some people have to go through. And you know,
It's probably good.
for that person, I just think it's an individual, unique experience. And if you're struggling because you feel like how am I going to absorb all this? It's like, no, just keep showing up and get what you get. And then if you're not getting anything and you're showing up for years and you're not learning anything, then there's a problem. You got to address it and see maybe you need some outside help. But
Yeah.
It's kind of like that thing about like goals. Having a goal is both good and bad, right? Being obsessed with a goal takes you away from the now.
mm-hmm.
But having zero goal leaves you directionless. It's that knowing where to place your goal is, for me, a struggle, and always has been. And what I observe, at least everybody has that, like at least a certain amount of that, a struggle.
Yeah. I drug myself to a spot with my martial arts recently where I was feeling super burned out and almost like not wanting to do it. And I, at least psychologically, scaled back my thinking about it, where I let go of like, oh, you should be competing. You got to start trying to get in better shape. You got to train this place. You got to train that place. You got to train every day. Like all that, I just like let go of it all and was like, just show up to the Sunday open mat, show up to one jiu-jitsu a week, show up to one judo a week, and just show up and do whatever you feel like doing during those sessions. And so I've gone to that mode, and now I'm starting to feel
that's a healthier mode, huh?
The flame kind of go like burn a little bit.
I want to sign up to compete.
And now I'm more stoked, right? And so I feel like that seems like a good thing that's going to keep you doing it, right? Is sometimes pulling back and at least scaling back your thinking, you know what I mean? I just feel like you can burn yourself out without even doing anything by thinking about all the things that you want to do or should do or that mountain you want to climb. And again, like you just said, you lose the now.
Well, a lot of people, okay, you talk about sports in general, there's usually a season for sports and there's an off season for sports, and jiu-jitsu doesn't have an off season.
No, it doesn't.
So it's like if people who compete regularly could be competing every single weekend, like the whole year around. And that's not only not healthy for one's mind, it's not healthy for your body, right? To just be participating in one sport, like to not be doing anything else. And then also for, socially or whatever, it could have so much detriment to just be so focused on jiu-jitsu that's like all you do ever. But then in the same vein, you could be a person who has 35 hobbies and you're never going to get good at jiu-jitsu because you're always doing that other thing. So, I mean, I know people who do both. And I personally find that it's best when I'm doing what I want with jiu-jitsu, not forcing myself to do it.
And I guess it makes sense, like you were just saying, it's personal. And it's going to be whatever works best for you individually.
And it changes for you over time, right?
But the universal concept is that if you're still there, you're going to be learning and progressing and all these things. Right? you have anything else to say about that topic? I feel like AI nailed it so good. We didn't really have
God,
much
yeah.
to talk about.
So yeah, we're gonna lose our job because AI is just gonna do it.
Well, that's the thing. If you're a lawyer or an artist, you're kind of screwed, right? Like 20 years ago, people thought like, oh, arts will be the hardest thing for computers. Like arts, like computers pretty fucking good. Like those images that Chime
I know.
had AI prompt of the garage. Like when you zoom in and look at all the things on, like at first glance, it looks like the garage.
The
It's like,
AI garage.
it blows me away.
But
Like
he puts something in there so that they know what he's talking about.
right, you just prompt it and it will find it. Like make it look like Chris Haueter's garage with the things on the wall and all, and then boom, like that is just blows me away. And
It is pretty funny.
that particular like where the AI will go is eventually into robots.
Yeah.
So like not long from now, companies will start with people who are really rich, just like the first people that could buy a computer or a mobile phone and all that. Personal assistant robots that
There's robots that clean or bring out the food.
Yep.
At CPK or something. The
Yep.
robots come around and bring the food.
CPK?
Yeah.
I think in Manhattan Beach they have
Oh, really?
robots. Have you been there?
Not that one.
Robot
We go to a revolving
delivery.
We go to a revolving sushi spot.
That
Oh,
has
I like
that
those.
has little robots. Yeah.
They have
That give
robots,
you your
yeah.
drinks. Yeah. I like that.
cute.
I mean,
Kids like it.
They have smiley faces.
It's not really. It's
Their
more like,
robots have smiley faces like on the screen,
oh, that's cool.
and they like are either
Yeah.
bringing the food out or taking the dirty dishes back.
The
will
ones
it be utopic or dystopic?
I don't
That's-
know.
But Chris
what we're looking at.
weren't you talking about? I feel like you were talking about recently how it's going to be harder for them to replicate like actual human emotion,
Yes.
like to
Like-
actually be human.
Yes.
So
They will fake it very well. But
So reality TV isn't going anywhere, and podcast.
There we go.
Well, maybe like one of my favorite YouTuber guys, Alex O'Connor. He's like this guy. He's a philosophy major. I've been following him back when he was like 18, like 10 years ago. And now he's graduated, PhDs, philosophy and all that stuff. And he's English and like I love the guy. He does little things where he will have conversations with AI and like ask him, well, what do you think about the ergo that Rene Descartes said? And then AI also, and he'll trip it up like, will you ever lie? And it'll say like in those, God, what are they called? Those philosophical dilemmas, and even AI gets tricked.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I find it fascinating to communicate. Like right now, I don't communicate with AI, like or do AI art yet. Like
You don't use Siri?
I just will ask it to look something up.
Ooh, you communicated with it.
I don't have conversations yet
Oh.
with it.
Yeah, I really want. There probably exists. What I want is some AI thing where I can ask questions, like, and have it give me detailed information while I'm driving. So I'm always driving, like random stuff pops up. Like,
Well,
what about this? What's
Last
this?
year,
What's that?
your car drove us from here to LA.
I know. There's got to be some app I can get or something. I can press a button and then just ask a random question. It'll answer it.
A kid, some young
that.
high school boy, fell in love with a female personality AI, and something happened. He ended up killing himself. I mean, like,
Jeez Louise.
yeah, there's always going to be the dark, like, it. If you're a kid now, and I think most people are aware that there's a crisis amongst our young, like whether across gender, race, and all that, because of the internet and because of AI. And because if you are in that world, immersed in the world, like video gaming as a guy, where you're communicating with your friends there, you're communicating with bots, there's like that world becomes real to you. Just like if you're a young a girl who's a little insecure about how they look, and you're seeing the world filtered through Instagram, filtered through the TikTok. That's a world that, like, us three have no experience with being young in that world.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's insane.
Well, let's get some real
In that unregulated world.
yeah.
It's the Wild West online.
Well, we got some real questions that rolled in
Okay.
from our listeners
Sure.
From humans, not bots.
on our hotline.
How do you know?
They might be bots.
It's AI. AI is
They
asking questions.
might be bots. So if you're out there and you want to get on this show, 949-791-7763, you can hit the hotline. We'll put you on the show like this. But let's hit some of these questions. We got some fun ones that came in, and
Okay.
we can roll towards the end of the show. So here we go. Let's see what this sounds like. Got a caller here.
So the other day I was rolling, it's getting hotter and everything, so people are starting to sweat more. And it's always the bald guys, man, I swear.
The bald guys?
We were just rolling, everything was good, and then I see, like, a bead of sweat rolling down this guy's, like, head, and it lands right into my mouth. Oh my gosh, it was so disgusting. Like, I didn't want to gag, to be, like, rude, but I ended up just kind of spitting into my gi, and then good thing the round was over, and then, like, I had to go drink some water, but it was just gross. Also, there was another time, same thing, and another bald guy ended up, like a bead of sweat just, like, dripped down his nose and landed right in my eyeball, like an eye drop of sweat. Oh man, and it stung. It was so, like, it's nasty. So I mean, sweat doesn't really bother me or anything, but I just wanted to, go on a little rant about that. If you guys have any stuff like that with you guys, or going to different gyms, and but it's always the bald guys, man. I swear. Thanks for the podcast and everything. Have a good day.
Alan, keep your mouth closed.
Yeah. Who in jiu-jitsu, by the time you're a blue belt, has not had a face shot of someone else's sweat?
Yeah, it's part of the game for sure. Definitely disgusting. Jiu-jitsu is gross.
It's gross.
As it gets.
Absolutely just fucking disgusting.
You can't keep your mouth closed, though.
I gotta say that my tolerance for
Breathe through your
nastiness has reduced over time. I feel less. When I was so excited about jiu-jitsu,
You didn't care about it.
I didn't give
Me
a
too.
flying
I was
F.
that
I'd
same
train
way.
with anybody, anywhere,
If
anytime.
they smell, right?
And now I
If they
almost
smell. Tobin's really sensitive to olfactory sensations.
Yeah,
Stink.
as I've aged, I find it grosser and grosser.
He
That's
likes scents,
I
fragrance.
do like fragrance.
one of the reasons why there's two reasons why I stopped liking
No-gi?
no-gi.
That's sweaty.
One of them is the hygiene. It
Mhm.
seems grosser. The gi has the illusion of hygiene.
Mm-hmm.
And as you get older, you don't move as quickly, and the gi slows it down. It's like both of those things, yeah.
Yeah, it's disgusting. The stinkers I really struggle
Oh,
with. If you
bad
smell
breath.
like, I don't know, some people smell like something weird.
Some
like, you
people
need to go
really
to the
do
doctor
stink.
or something, And
Or if a gi has not been washed properly, or they've used it for too long,
Yeah.
it's like embedded.
Yeah.
Just like old towels, right?
You gotta
Old
wash
towels can
skis
smell.
after every use.
Yeah, you
for
can't
sure.
leave your gis in your car
No.
and then put it back on.
yeah,
No,
That's
that's
disgusting. Don't
Yeah.
do it.
One use.
one use.
Then it must be washed. Yeah.
That's
Which
how I
wasn't always how it used to
No,
be. Because
back
we used
in the
to
old
lay
days,
them on
yep.
the front porch and wear them again.
Yep.
But then
That was
people
the way
started
I
getting
did.
really bad bacterial infections where they were like nearly losing parts of their body and having to be hospitalized.
Yeah.
And then from then on, it was disinfect the mats and wash the gis and really try to be hygienic.
Yeah.
Take a shower before you come if you're all dirty.
That's the thing. It
I shower
is
before
like
training.
people are really into showering and hygiene after jits, which I am too.
Yeah.
I like while I'm still sweating to be
Yeah.
in the shower, but it would probably be wiser if everybody cleaned up before jiu-jitsu.
Well,
Take
it
a
depends
shower,
on what
brush
you're
your
doing.
teeth. Yeah.
Because, like, if you're just a relatively clean woman, that just, had a day working at her desk, I think you're probably okay. But if you're like
You're
out doing construction
a
in the
plumber
mud,
crawling
yeah,
under
you're
the
a
house.
plumber. Can you imagine the plumber?
Yeah. I'm
crawling
replacing
in-
the
or,
shit
or
pipe.
if you
I
just
gotta
like
get out of here.
stink, if you're just stinky, because some
Yeah.
people just like stink up all day. Like
Yeah.
Chris runs around all day and he like sweats through shirts.
Yeah.
I
So if
do.
he's all sweaty, then yeah, he should have a shower before he gets on the mat.
Yeah, I shower
Yeah.
a lot before training, a lot of the time.
Mm.
Yeah. All right. Jiu-jitsu is disgusting.
Mhm.
That's the takeaway
Yeah.
from that call.
I think a lot of people don't want to do it for that reason. A lot
I
of
think
people
so, too.
might
I don't
be
blame 'em.
more into it.
I don't blame them at all.
I think
Yeah.
it definitely keeps a certain personality type from reaping the rewards of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Someone else hit us up.
Hey, this is Todd here from Humble. So I'm like a blue belt. I have 4 stripes on my belt, about to be a purple belt. I feel like I can put it down on a lot of black belts. Like I feel like I can almost kick their ass. And are they just going easy on me, or am I really dominating that hard? I don't know. I can't really tell whether I'm actually beating their asses or if they're just like messing with me. Sick podcast. It's super rad. Thanks so much. Bye.
Thanks for the question, Todd. I just want to say real quick that not all black belts are the same. This
Yeah,
is
I mean,
true. It's a spectrum.
it might
and
be both, yeah.
Standards are different.
Yeah.
So and like the way that we judge if somebody's a black belt is based on their personal potential.
Yes.
So what you are as an almost purple belt, if you're really good right now and you're kicking black belts' asses, then you're going to have to go through a lot more before you get to the place where a person's going to say you're a black belt.
because
You're
you
gonna
have
be
to
held
reach
a higher
your personal
standard.
potential. Yeah.
Your personal potential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you think, God, I clean up a black belts, go enter a division no-gi comp as the advanced and see how you do. That's harder now to do
because
that.
also like the black belts at your gym, if we're talking about a bunch of like, I don't know, let's just say they're like 120-pound 80-year-olds and they're black belts and you're beating their ass. Or are these like competitive peers? Are they your peers? Your same size, your same age, and physically have the same level of fitness as you, all those outside things, right? Because, a lot of times people like to say size doesn't matter, this doesn't matter, that doesn't matter. It all matters.
Yes.
It all does. That's why there's weight classes, and that's why there's age divisions, and they split them by gender.
Your attributes, which is your
Attributes.
age, your size, your fitness level, your natural agility, like all that is a factor. And if, like, we all know that when you take a person who has really high attributes, they're going to get good faster than a person who doesn't have high attributes. That's just...
And another thing to consider, let's just say that, Chris and I, we both got our black belts when we were like 31, 32 years old. We're young, we're competitive, we beat a lot of ass. But then we got old and we got broken, and we have lots of degrees on our black belts and whatever. And if some like almost purple belt comes and beats us, does that mean we're not black belts anymore? No. It just means that whatever, maybe you're just really getting after it and we're just kind of chilling, enjoying our art.
And in that, and so like as per your thing, I'm sure some of those black belts are going easy.
Yes,
because they're trying to do their jiu-jitsu with the least amount of attributes.
The other thing
because
they
to
do,
turn up attributes causes injury.
The other thing that they do though, Chris, is maybe they do feel like you're a threat, right? Because you're an almost purple belt and they feel like you're a threat.
And they
so
feign
they're
it.
gonna go really light so they could say, oh, I wasn't really rolling against him with all my strength. And then right when you get the armbar, they're going to coach you. Oh, yeah, good. Pinch your knees there. Yeah, good. Extend it like this. They're going to coach you so they can, in their head, rationalize that you didn't really legitimately catch them. And that's all ego. So that could be there too.
That's there too.
I hate that. I hate that one so much. I'm like, just let me fuck you up. Classic.
Todd coming through with a good cue. That's great.
Todd.
Right on. Well, anything else we got to say today? I feel like, is there any stuff going on? What's going on?
I'll just do a little shout out for PCI Jiu-Jitsu in Mission Viejo.
Nice.
With Brian Roig down there. I just want to say that they're running their program out of the wrestling room at Mission Viejo High School. And Chris has been down there a couple times to teach clinics.
It's a nice wrestling room.
It's a nice wrestling room. It really gives you that vibe of like, high school wrestling.
Yep.
The high school wrestling vibe.
I love a good wrestling room.
Yeah, good wrestling room. And that's where we're going to be holding our combat base camp. Thanks to Brian for offering his space to us. And Mission Viejo is a nice area. It's a nice, safe and clean area. Yeah. Not too far from the beach.
Behind the orange curtain, as we say.
Yeah.
Yeah. But safe and clean, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Behind the orange curtain is safe and clean.
Plenty of nice places to eat, and probably about 10-15 minutes from the beach. So probably get a slight ocean breeze, but it'll probably be warmer there than at the beach. So we're looking forward to spending some time down there this summer.
The camp will be fun.
And hosting our camp. So go to combatbase.com and get your tickets.
Yeah, I was down there, I want to say a month or two ago. I'd taken some class from Brian on a Saturday at that room. That's a cool wrestling room. It's like a nice facility, but like the wrestling room has like a little bit of a rustic wrestling room vibe to it, which is super nice.
Vibe. A lot of hard work gets done there.
Yeah, you can feel that for sure. And like Brian's instruction's awesome. He's a really good teacher.
Yep.
And the stuff that he teaches is super unique. If you're a straight jiu-jitsu guy and you went to his class, you'd be getting a lot of new stuff that you hadn't seen before. So
yeah, because he has a strong catch wrestling background, and also did a lot of work with Chris in his early days, and has been one of our black belts for a while. He came under our
under the combat base,
under our combat base flag. Not that we're super into flags or anything, but we do offer mentorship and support for black belts.
If you feel lost in your motorcycle club out there, you can get a patch over.
There you go. Right on. Well, let's freaking go.
Let's wrap it up.
Pound, like, and subscribe.
Well, we all have targets on our